Hi friends, and thanks so much for being here. I have a question for you. Do you like cards that have moving pieces on them? Now, I'm guessing most of us like those cards. Are fun, they catch your interest, it's something extra special for the person who's receiving your cards. But I know for a fact a lot of us card makers, me included at times, shy away from making these cards because they seem complicated, right? Today I want to share shaker card ideas with you, but we're doing them in a new way. If you know what shaker cards are, they have like sequins or little gems or something that will shake around behind a clear sheet, kind of like a window. And they're really cute and fun. But they have several steps, and I, for one, have messed them up before when I do the steps in the wrong order. I forget to put my window sheet on before I put that foam on. But I have a really simple alternative to making shaker cards that way that I want to share with you today. We're going to make some adorable cards. I think you'll enjoy seeing them. Stick around at the end. I will attempt to offer something encouraging to you today. So let's get started. This right here is the key to making these shaker cards really easily. Clear envelopes. This will be our pocket for our sequins or our shakers instead of having to create that whole pocket yourself the normal shaker card way. So let's get started. You'll see here in just a minute how these come together. So the set I'm using for these is called Snowy Wonder, and we are creating some snow globe cards. Now, snow globes are perfect for little shakers, right? Because snow globes have little shakers in them. But I want you to keep in mind that you can do this technique with any die that's going to cut an opening out of a piece of paper, or you can do the same thing with a punch. You just have to have an opening in your paper to be able to see the shakers through. So let me show you what I have started to create for our first card. I have my card base, piece of designer paper. Now, all the designer papers I'm showing here, it came from the Snowy Scenes designer paper pack. It coordinates with the bundle I just showed you, and they're very adorable. So, started with a piece of that designer paper. I cut the smaller snow globe out of the center. I have prepared the little base. I've prepared my tag. I've prepared a few different things. But what we need to do is two different things. One, we need to decide what's going in here, and we need to create our pocket for the shaker. So let's do this first. Let's stamp our scene inside of the snow globe. Now, you probably cannot see this or cannot see it very well, but there are two little tiny marks right here. I mark the bottom corners of my snow globe so that I have an idea of where I need to do my stamping. You could trace a really light line with pencil if you want to, but you need to do something if you're recreating a card like this that you'll be able to see where you need to do your stamping. So I'll bring in my ink. I need black, red, and green. We are going to stamp a penguin, a little house, and a tree. So I want to stamp the penguin first, basically in the center of this snow globe towards the bottom. Now, I wanted to stamp the tree and the little house behind the penguin, but it would look kind of funny if I overlapped like this, right? So here is a little masking technique you can try if you want to. I stamped the same penguin on some masking paper. If you don't know what masking paper is, it has a light adhesive on the back, but it's removable. So now I can stamp that house right over the top. And I'm going to stamp the tree over here on this other side. And what happens when I remove that mask? We have a penguin who looks like he's standing in front of his house and a tree. I just love that technique. You can create some really amazing cards with this technique. So now this is what it is going to look like after we add that piece on top. Let's color his beak and feet and Then we are going to make our pocket. We'll get to our first pocket. I'll share with you how to make that. And so this is what we have. I took one of these envelopes. These are big enough to fit a card inside of, a card in an envelope. I took it and I cut it down to where, here's the opening right here on this side. And it is just about 3 3/4 inches wide this way. Now I want to put my shakers inside. So I have some little snowflakes that I thought would be perfect for this. And just put a few in here. You don't want to get too many. There's kind of a fine line between too many and not enough. But we'll try that many right here. And here is the easy way to seal these up. Scotch tape, okay? You need to make sure it runs the whole length. We do not want any cracks in the opening, because if you get any, those little shakers may fall out. Fold that over to the back. And as you're planning your projects, if you are planning a different project from me, you just have to keep in mind that you need a big enough border with whatever you're covering it up with to make sure that this doesn't show. Now, if it does show, honestly, it doesn't really show very much, so it wouldn't be a big deal. But that is something to keep in mind as you're planning your projects. Now, I am going to put some adhesive on the 4 corners of this because we do need this to stay attached to the card. I'm using my Seal Plus. This is some really good, strong adhesive. So we'll put that in place. Now we can put this over top. So if I want to, I can attach this straight to the card. I think just to give the shakers a little bit more space to move, I am going to use some dimensionals. So that is how easy it is to make one of these shaker cards. Pretty easy, right? I would love to hear in the comments if you've made a shaker card before, and if so, what you think about this new way of doing it. I love shaker cards. I don't make them very often just because they do involve several steps. This is my Take Your Pick tool. It's really handy for removing the backs. It's handy for a lot of things. It's handy for placing the dimensionals in place and removing the backs and putting gems on cards, all sorts of other things as well. So make sure this is where I want it, lower it in place. Now let's add these 2 other pieces, and then I'll shake it a little bit so you can see what it all looks like finished. So here's the base of the snow globe. I cut this out and then I embossed it with this adorable snowflake embossing folder. If you're interested in any of these products, I'll have links in the video description below for all of them. So here you can see how that all shakes around. Very cute, right? Okay, so let's move on to the second one. This one I kept pretty simple as well. And then the third, actually they're all simple, but the third one's my favorite, so I hope you'll stick around to watch for it. This one, we're gonna make a slimline card. It has been a while since I have made a slimline card. So I cut this piece out of, and if you want the dimensions, I'll have these on my website. There's always a link in my video description below to go to my website where you'll see still photos of my projects, and many times you'll get dimensions as well. So I cut this from that same paper pack, the Snowy Scenes, and have my base ready in garden green. And then the snow globe die coordinates with a lot of the pieces in this paper. You're going to see this again on my next card with some different pieces that coordinate. I just die cut this out, keeps it really simple for me. So I want to attach this to the card. You know what? No, I don't. Here's where, oh, I get ahead of myself. Okay, friends. I really struggle with shaker cards. Okay, so I'm not pressing this down and I'll still be able to lift it back off. Okay. I am going to put this down. What I wanted to do was lay this in place, but not with adhesive on the back. Okay, we can still fix this. There's usually a way to fix things that we mess up. Okay, so that's what I wanted. I wanted the snow globe in the center. This may get, because I'm using my best adhesive, she says, I want to stay, which is good most of the time. Okay, now we won't see any of that because we'll cover that up. So now we need to add our pocket. And this one I already prepared. See, okay, so I talked about the width of your border to not see whatever is going on along the edges of your pocket. So on this one, because I have very narrow borders, I cut this off here and I actually put a little bit of glue on the inside to seal that all up. So I'm going to put that down at the bottom so that nobody will see that part. I should still have space on my corners to put my adhesive where this will not show. So this one, I just have some pretty silver and white sequins, you can see. So we'll attach that. And now let's put some fresh adhesive on here. And lay this right on top. If you want to have a little bit of wiggle room after you set this down, you could use some glue on the back. So this one, you can see on that other one I created, I popped up my top piece to give it a little more space. This one I did not. I attached that directly, and it still has lots of room for those shakers to shake around. Let's put our greeting on the top. This stamp set has really cute greetings on it, which you'll see on these 3 cards. I used all 3 of the greetings, and I was going to cut this off somewhere. Let's put it on and then I'll cut it off. How about that? Okay, so here is card number 2, a fun shaker card. I didn't mention this, but these do fit into business size envelopes. Let's move on to our 3rd card. And I do have another one to share with you that I made with the same stamp and die set, and the paper is really cute too. So it has another fun technique. Now with this one, I have my pocket prepared. It's not full of shakers yet, but I wanted to share with you how to do this. So this one, I am going to do the right way. Let me share with you how I prepared this. So this was all one piece, of course. So what I did first, I started with a pool party piece of cardstock. I stamped the trees and the snowflakes, and then I tore 2 pieces of white cardstock. I laid this one on and then laid this one on top. After I had all of that done, I ran this through and cut the snow globe piece out of the center. So let's do this the right way. Had another chance to redeem myself. So I'll lay that in place. There's no adhesive on the back. We'll put this piece down and attach it in place. Now we need to prepare our pockets with the sequins inside. We'll do this one more time. It's very easy as you saw the first time, but in case you missed anything, here's another chance. So we'll just add a few of these snowflakes. And we need a piece of Scotch tape. I'm going to put this, I'm trying to lay about half of that Scotch tape over the border and then fold the other half back. Just, that gives me the narrowest border that I have to try to keep hidden. So we'll put the, okay, now I started to do this the wrong way, so I'm editing my mistakes. Do you ever make mistakes? Oh, friends, it happens to me a lot. Okay, so we're gonna put these little creatures on here. So I'll put some adhesive on the backs of all of them. Now these pieces right here, I die cut out of the designer paper pack. We have stamps in the stamp set for all of these cute little things. But when I can, I really like to keep things really simple. So I just die cut those out. Aren't they cute? Okay, now I have this piece I had already prepared. I put it on the wrong way the first time. Let's put it on the right way this time. So I'll just add an extra batch of adhesive here. You know why I do that? You know why I mess things up, friends? To make you feel better when you do. Right? You probably never mess anything up. Okay. So there is all of that. That was the right way to do it. I tried to put I put the little pocket on before I decorated the background. What was I thinking? Oh, I would lose my head sometimes if it wasn't attached. Now I made this adorable little greeting, and our third shaker is done. Pretty cute, right? So let's bring the other two back in so you can see all three of them. And I want to show you this little one with the wobbler. So this one I kept really simple, did the torn background. That was one of the techniques she shared. And then I die cut the snow globe out of the paper and created, you can see the little wire wobbler in there, and made the little wobbler for the penguin. So some fun ideas for easy shaker cards, fun ideas for how to use this bundle if that's something you're interested in. The links are down there in the video description below. I'm going to flip my camera around. Let's chat for a minute. 10 minutes ago, I had no idea what I was going to talk about right now, but I say my prayers that I say the right things for at least someone out there, hopefully, who needs to hear it. And you know what popped into my mind? What popped into my mind is your story matters. Your story matters. Every one of our stories matter. They matter to you. If you have children, if you have family, your stories will matter to them if you choose to share them, good and bad. And your story matters to this world and other people in this world. I know many times we like to keep quiet and not speak up about especially the bad things, right? The struggles, the hard times, the things we've done that we're ashamed of. The bad. We like to keep quiet when it comes to the bad. But you know what? You know when I connect with people the most? When we start talking about bad. When I decide that I'm going to open up and share some bad, or when they decide they're going to open up and share some bad, that is when we really connect with each other and form really solid relationships. I was just thinking about this the other day, making friends is hard. And I don't think we're supposed to have like lots of friends. Like, I think we're supposed to have like a few good friends. But if you feel like you don't have a few good friends, maybe somewhere, sometime, you're in a situation and you feel a little nudge to like open up and share something that maybe isn't happy and joyful. Share a little bit of yourself. Maybe that could lead to building a relationship with somebody and a new friend, or just helping somebody through a hard time. I've actually reached out to a couple of my former students that I thought of here in the last couple of weeks, and both of them were going through hard stuff, and I shared my hard stuff and they shared, because some of what I've been through is kind of like what they're going through. And anyway, this is how we need each other friends. We need to share our stories. They matter to family, and they matter to others who you could lift up and encourage today. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to handmake with love.